All right, guys, we have major breaking news here for you. It's official. Israel and the United States have now waged an illegal and offensive war against Iran. They are going for full regime change. This is not a little attack by any stretch of the imagination. I have a lot of stuff to get to here, so let's jump right in. And by the way, I warned you. I told you this was going to happen. I told you the negotiations were a total ruse. Israel does not want peace. The U.S. does not want peace. They were faking negotiations in order to lull them into a false sense of security to then attack them. That's exactly what they did. I told you that was what's going to happen. And I knew that not only because we were moving all this military stuff in the region, but because Trump has a history of doing exactly this. This is how he killed Qasem Soleimani, one of the top Iranian commanders who was fighting ISIS. He lured him with fake negotiations, then he murdered him in a terror attack. So here we are, except now they're going for full illegal and offensive regime change. I also told you, after the so-called 12-day war, that if you think this thing is over, I have a bridge to sell you. And yet again, that's exactly correct. I wish it wasn't. I wish I was wrong, but I'm not wrong. So let's go ahead and jump right in, and I'll walk you through what we have right now. So the Associated Press says, breaking. Explosions heard in Tehran as Israel's defense minister confirms Israel has attacked Iran. So this is what Trump wanted. Trump wanted Israel to attack first, then Iran to counterattack, and then Trump gets to go, well, actually, technically, it's defensive because we were attacked first. Again, even though Israel attacked first, they were our attack dog. It's all bullshit. It's all a game. It's all a con. It's all theater. We were always going to go in and back up Israel. That was the point. They want the regime change. We're going to deliver the regime change. By the way, here's something nobody's going to talk about. The president of the United States was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a honeypot blackmail operation. He was running a honeypot blackmail operation, and he worked with intelligence agencies all across the world, including Mossad. There's no doubt that the Israeli government has videos and pictures of Trump doing horrific things with underage girls. There's no doubt. And now Benjamin Netanyahu, how do we know he didn't blackmail Trump and hold it over his head, say, hey, you're gonna do this regime change or else, or these tapes come out. And by the way, the Iranians are saying if you do the attack, tapes will come out because they claim they have them. So we'll see if that's just a bluff or not. But when I look at this, man, it stinks to the high heavens. And we have a blackmailed pedophile president. We do. And so now look at how deep we're into this. Okay, I got to keep going here because, like I said, I got a lot of stuff to get to. So here we have one of the attacks on Tehran that landed. You could see smoke in the distance. Take a look at this. And this is happening all across the Middle East, and we'll get to that as we move along here. But here's another video in Iran with smoke coming up because something was clearly attacked. Here we go. You can see it right there. This is a different one, by the way. I should point out, this is a different one that we're talking about. We're going to get to Qatar. We're going to get to Abu Dhabi. We're going to get to all the different ones because there's a lot of stuff that's under attack right now. Iran is not playing around. They're not sitting ducks. This isn't like the Venezuela operation. They're a much more formidable enemy, not only than Venezuela, but also compared to Iraq. Iran is a country of about 90 million people and is 4 times bigger than Iraq, and the government's been in existence since the 1970s. This is not easy. What we're doing here is not easy. And of course, this is totally against the Constitution because Congress didn't approve this in any way, shape, or form. You got Thomas Massie out there saying it right now. Democrats should be screaming for impeachment, screaming. Dropsite News says, U.S. forces are carrying out dozens of strikes using aircraft from bases across the Middle East and from at least one aircraft carrier. Officials told the New York Times, U.S. officials also expect the operation to be a significantly larger one than last June's American strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. U.S. officials confirms U.S. carrying out strikes against Iran, not solely an Israeli action, will not be a small operation. Now, by the way, what happened? You guys told us you destroyed their nuclear capabilities, and anybody who told you otherwise was spreading fake news. Now you're saying we got to do this to destroy their nuclear capabilities. Jesus Christ. All right, so now let's jump right into it, bro. Here is Donald Trump. I'm going to try to get through his full statement here. He does a late night speech. Because, by the way, the attack happened late night Eastern time, okay? But in Iran, it happened during the day, which is very bizarre. If you're actually trying to protect yourselves and get away with it, you would do it at night. But they chose to do it during the day in Iran, which again tells me they literally want the counterattack. Trump wants the counterattack. Trump wants American casualties so he can go out there and justify getting deeper involved in this war. It's very disturbing. It's very, very dark. But here we go. This is what he says.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime.
Literally everybody knows that's a lie. This is such nonsense. imminent threats from Iran. They're not going to attack us. There was no threats whatsoever. They were negotiating. They thought, hey, maybe we'll get a deal out of this. Their foreign minister was saying that on TV yesterday. Nobody buys this. Who is this for?
A vicious group of very hard, terrible people.
The guy who starts a new war every other week is calling somebody else vicious. That's rich.
Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries.
Trump just bragged about putting an al-Qaeda leader as the head of Syria. I'm not kidding. He just bragged about putting an al-Qaeda leader as the head of Syria. And he's saying Iran does terror attacks against it. You have got to be kidding me. By the way, you know why they chant death to America, right? Are you guys familiar with this? It's because we illegally and offensively overthrew their government in 1953 because they elected somebody named Mohammad Mossadegh who was going to nationalize their oil, which would screw Western oil corporations out of the profits from that. And so we did that, and we put a CIA puppet leader in control of the country, the Shah, and that's why they chant it. I don't know. If somebody illegally and offensively cooed my government to steal my natural resources, I might say death to that country too.
Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the... He's
literally bringing up 1983. Bro is so cooked. You think this is going to land with the American people? You think this is going to help you with your shitty approval rating?
Barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members.
By the way, the fact that he said they're probably involved with it means there's almost no chance they're involved with it.
In Iraq, the regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years.
Why did you put your country by our military bases? How dare you put your country by our military bases? All we did was encircle your country with our military bases and with giant missiles and guns. And man, you attacked poor little us. We weren't doing anything wrong.
As well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal.
Is he going to talk about the fact that you had, like, an October 7th, like, every other day in Gaza for the past couple years? No, of course not.
Thing like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon.
And they don't. They didn't. They never have. They said they don't want one. This literally this week, they said they don't want one. If I was advising them, I would say, you probably should get one. Because if you had one, all of this would be avoided. They couldn't do this to you if you had it. Look, Kim Jong-un has a nuke. They can't fuck with him. Libya, under Gaddafi, they gave up their weapons of mass destruction, and then he was toppled and sodomized with a bayonet. Okay? Saddam Hussein in Iraq, same thing. Didn't have weapons of mass destruction. Look what happened to him. It's almost like the message the world is getting is, I better get nukes ASAP. Because if I don't, I'm a sitting duck to Western aggression.
Say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon.
It's kind of crazy. He's saying this. Meanwhile, he ripped up the JCPOA, the Obama-Iranian nuclear agreement. There's no debate around that. It just worked. It's just a fact. The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, says they verified over a dozen times that Iran was following it perfectly, and all we had to do was give them back their own money that we stole through sanctions. Literally, that's all we had to do. That's it. So, you're the reason there's no peace. You are the problem. You are the issue. You ripped up the agreement. You violated the agreement and ripped up the agreement. Now you have the nerve to smack them around and say, make a new agreement with me where I put even harsher terms on you. Are you kidding me? It's fucking absurd.
That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan.
But now we have to attack them again because of their nuclear program.
After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil.
I'm done, bro. I'm done. Oh, my word. Who buys this? Bro, you're building the Fourth Reich, homie. You're building the Fourth Reich. I mean, how many evil actions you were threatening to steal Greenland like last week. Denmark is our ally. They control Greenland. You're threatening to steal it like last week. You're threatening to steal Panama. You're threatening to bomb Mexico. Okay? You kidnapped the leader of Venezuela and started stealing their oil, and now you have hundreds of millions of dollars sitting in your own personal account overseas in Qatar. And the fact that he calls anybody else evil, bro, I am done.
Just as it has for decades and decades, they've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland.
Oh, he did it. He did the thing. He did the thing. Oh, my God, he did the thing. They have the weapons of mass destruction. It could soon hit us. Who are you, Mark Levin? Are you Mark Levin? Is that who you are? Are you fucking Netanyahu? Like, this is the most pathetic propaganda I've ever seen in my life. Nobody in motherfucking Cleveland is sitting there going, you know what my biggest problem is? Iran. Like, no, the Islamic Revolution sure was fucked up in 1979, wasn't it? What do you, like, oh, God, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to crash out.
Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our...
The guy who just said, we shouldn't even have elections anymore, going, the wicked dictatorship. Homie, that's you! Look in the mirror. Oh.
Core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
That's because of you, dog. Don't give me this bullshit. Everybody knows there would be 0 U.S. casualties if you and Israel didn't start another illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us. There would be motherfucking 0 casualties. This is Trump sacrificing innocent Americans to the blood gods of the military-industrial complex and the Israel lobby. That's what he's doing. I need you to understand that. That's what this is. And again, there was reporting he literally wants American troops to be killed in the Iranian counterattack after the Israeli first strike, so that he can go, well, now we have to go in and we have no choice.
But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission.
Oh.
We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
Oh.
We ask God to protect all of...
Motherfucker, you're the threat. You are the evil. You have ICE Gestapo's thugs shooting innocent Americans in the face and murdering them on a regular basis. You're building 23 concentration camps. And he has the nerve. Oh, my God. I'm thinking of the old, like, Muhammad Ali line and updating it to, the Iran never did shit to me. The Iranians never did shit to me, right? Like, what do you say? No Vietnamese ever called me the N-word? Like, this is what, like, Who is this working on? And that's the thing, though. I got to calm down. It's working on nobody. That's what we need to understand. It's working on nobody. There's like the Kool-Aid drinking death cultists of MAGA. Yes, they'll go for this. His approval rating with them or the support for this move among them, it'll go from 50% to 95% like that. But everybody else is gonzo. I'll make a prediction right now. His approval rating at some point in the near future is going to be in the 20s. You're going to have a major poll that has him at like 29%. Watch.
Our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So
he says that as the mission is ongoing literally right now to murder all of them. So that's a lie, this idea like, I'll give you a way out. No, you're not. There's no way out. What are you talking about?
Lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity.
This is literally what they did with Hamas, right? Lay down your weapons and everything will be great. Meanwhile, like, as they're speaking, they're doing another carpet bombing raid where they're murdering women and children, right? Like, if they keep their weapons or give up their weapons, they're still going to do the genocide and the ethnic cleansing. It's been live streamed for fucking years straight. We're not stupid. We weren't born yesterday. It's the same thing. You're doing the murdering of those people as you are giving this speech. Who are you kidding? You're not one last chance as you fucking shoot the guy right in the face. This is bullshit.
Or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
He thinks we live in a movie. Like, random people who aren't armed, like the local baker and the accountant, are going to storm the presidential palace and be like, this is ours now. And they're going to write a constitution 407 years ago. Like, this is not how war works in the real world, you dipshit. You just emboldened every gangster, every criminal in the country. The people who have the muscle currently are the ones who have the power. Oh, my God, bro.
For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do
God,
tonight.
This bit.
Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing.
See, there's the out. When everything falls apart, it's the Iranian people weren't ready. They didn't do the right thing. I did everything perfect. Like, he's already giving himself the outs, right? He's giving himself outs when this thing blows up.
With overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America.
All right, shut the fuck up. He's got to be impeached. He's got to be impeached. It's over. Just impeach him. Hit him with the 25th Amendment. Motherfucker, do something. This is not acceptable. Okay, there's evidence he has early Alzheimer's. A fucking brain that's just leaking dementia is now making global war decisions, which, by the way, could easily spark World War III, what he's done here. Could easily spark what could cascade into World War III. There's already going to be issues. There's already going to be pain felt on the part of the American people that we haven't felt in all these other wars that we've done, okay? This is just crazy to me that anybody could sit there and watch this happen and not do anything about it. By the way, there's protests already popping up. We'll talk about that later. But Democrats, any elected Democrats, for the love of God, they were so fucking chicken shit in the lead up to this. Chuck Schumer wanted this to happen. Hakeem Jeffries wanted this to happen. They blocked the Iran War Powers Resolution to try to stop Trump from doing this. But then they allowed it when they got word, hey, he's going to do the attack this weekend, so schedule the vote for after this weekend. And then, hey, your hands are clean. It's good, bro. So now they get to vote no and say, oh, no, I was against this all along. No, you weren't. For a fucking week, you dragged your feet. You didn't say shit. They were broadcasting that they wanted to attack Iran. You didn't say Dickie McGee's acts the whole time because secretly you wanted him to attack Iran because you guys are also bought by the Israel lobby. They need to fucking resign. Trump needs to not only fucking be impeached, but also locked up for this shit. Okay? And the Democrats, you need to resign. You need to resign. Hakeem Jeffries is not a Democrat. Chuck Schumer is not a Democrat. Bro, 2% of Democratic voting base wanted this, and they represented that 2%. I can't. But like I said, we got a lot more to get to. This is what CNN is publishing even before the Ellisons come in. So as you all know, the Ellisons are now going to buy CNN if it doesn't get blocked by a lawsuit, which means right-wing Zionist hacks are now going to own like every media outlet in the country. They're posting, timing of U.S.-Israel attack on Iran bears symbolic meaning in Judaism? Okay, this is the most anti-Semitic shit I think I've ever seen in my life. Are you trying to make anti-Semitism spike colossally? The argument you're making is like, hey, this illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us, yeah, that's all about Judaism. That's going to make people go, well, fuck that then, right? Fuck that religion. That's what they're going to do. No, this is some anti-Semitic shit. And by the way, they literally mention Amalek in this article. Amalek is the shit you heard Netanyahu say to justify murdering all the men, women, and children and animals in Gaza. Okay? This is insane that they let this article run. This is insane. It's preposterous that they let this article run. All right, but I still have more for you. Tehran preparing for retaliation. The response will be crushing, said Iranian officials to Reuters. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Just in, Iran in total internet blackout with national connectivity at 4%. So they jammed up the whole internet before they did this. Breaking, Israel will target missile storage sites, production facilities, and launchers, while the U.S. will focus on the Iranian nuclear project and additional targets related to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Council and Iranian government, according to a plan presented to Trump. This is what this guy used to say when he wasn't president. Look at this. Trump said in 2011, in order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. 2012, Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get reelected. 2013, I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. 2013 again, remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. So understand, this is how he thinks. He's letting you know how he thinks. He thinks, oh shit, if your poll numbers are bad, just attack Iran and people will rally around the flag and you'll become popular again. What he doesn't realize is that's not how it works. Like, to do a war, it requires relentless propaganda. You have to build public support. You have to manufacture consent, as the phrase goes. And he didn't do that at all. He didn't do that even a little bit. And so here we are. His numbers are going to collapse even further. He looks like a colossal idiot because he is a colossal idiot. But now you know, is this an attempt to distract in part from the Epstein files, for example? Fucking absolutely. Is it an attempt to distract from the economic calamity? Absolutely. And again, this is only going to make that worse too. This is only going to make that worse too. And by the way, the Epstein files aren't going away. And the reason they're not going away is because, like I said, Netanyahu has dirt on Trump from Epstein. Epstein worked with Mossad. That means they have a vault in Tel Aviv with pictures and videos of Trump with underage girls, okay? It's very possible that they held that over his head to say, you're going to do the full regime change here. We have a blackmailed pedophile president, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's bringing it up. Oh, my God, bro. Jesus Christ, dog. Holy shit. This one is from 2019, not that long ago. The United States has spent $8 trillion fighting and policing in the Middle East. Thousands of our great soldiers have died or been badly wounded. Millions of people have died on the other side. Going into the Middle East is the worst decision ever made. So now I'm going to make it even harder. Now I'm going to go even further into the Middle East. Now I'm going to do even more war. Remember the video of him on the debate stage in 2016 talking about how the war in Iraq was a big fat mistake. It was a beauty, and it was a real beauty, and your brother made it, Jeb. Remember that? That's like how he got popular. But now here we are. He's worse than a neocon. He's a neocon, colonialist, imperialist. He's more of a warmonger than George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. Okay, Dropsite says, important, hours before President Trump announced major combat operations to achieve regime change in Iran, Oman's foreign minister, the chief mediator in U.S.-Iran nuclear talks, told CBS a breakthrough deal could be reached tomorrow and warned that military action would derail it. Well, that's the thing, bro. They played you guys for fools. This is what Trump does. He lulls you into a false sense of security and pretends like, oh yeah, we're about to make that deal. This is going to be great. And then he fucking murders you. This is what he does because he's a charlatan. He's a scumbag. He's a vile, wretched cretin. Remember this one? The pro-peace ticket. I remember this. Do you guys remember how many segments did I do before the election where I was fucking screaming at people, going, no, Trump is a massive warmonger. No, I was going through his whole record in his first term, talking about all the hawkish actions he did, talking about, the increase in the drone war, 432%, talking about the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, the attempt to do regime change in Venezuela and put in Juan Guaido, talking about him hiring every neocon, increasing the military budget every single year. I went through with a fine-tooth comb. Hey, we bombed Somalia. We stayed in Iraq. We stayed in Afghanistan. His first raid as military president, military raid as president, killed a young American girl. Okay? I gave all these. I said, he's a warmonger. Look at his record. Fucking fell on deaf ears. All the right-wingers, even the right-wingers who like to think they're anti-war, right? They were like, nope, Kamala's going to be worse. And it's like, they were making fucking goofy ass memes like this, and I was telling him, you're wrong, you're fucking wrong. We're gonna get into a massive war if he gets back in there. He's gonna go nuts. And that's exactly what happened. The pro-peace ticket, my ass cheeks. Anybody who argued or thought Trump would be more anti-war than Kamala Harris should be tarred and feathered and launched into the motherfucking sun. They're calling it Operation Epic Fury. That's what they're calling it. Operation Epic Fury is the goofy ass, 4chan ass, unfuckable dweeb ass name that they've given to it. Like some loner 14-year-old white nationalist came up with the name. Jesus Christ. You've got to vote for Trump, guys. He's the peace candidate. The one guy who will stop World War III. And we got Sneeko, we got Tim Pool, we got Tucker Carlson, we got Dave Smith. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there, aren't there? There's a lot of these types out there, aren't there? Holy shit. Remember this one? Stephen Miller, 2024. 2024. To anyone still gullible enough to fall for scummy media hoaxes, Trump said warmongering neocons love sending your kids to die for wars they would never fight themselves. Liz Cheney is Kamala's top advisor. Liz wants to invade the whole Middle East. Kamala equals World War III. Trump equals peace. Unfucking believable. Dean Withers is right underneath here saying, hey man, you should probably delete this. It makes you look pretty fucking stupid. But that's the thing, Dean. Like, they were lying and they knew they were lying. They don't care. They don't care. When you call them on it, when you show, hey, look at this, they go, who cares? I'm still in power. I got the guns. And by the way, their next trick is going to be trying to steal the U.S. election. As Trump just ranted against this vicious dictatorship in Iran, he's creating his own dictatorship of his own in this country. That's what's happening. Ready for this one? This one, again, was during Obama's term. Listen to what he said here.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Yeah. As Onion Person says, just run this on TV every day. Yes, they should. Dropsite says, important, an Israeli defense official tells Reuters the operation had been planned for months in coordination with Washington, and the launch date was decided weeks ago. As I told you, the negotiations were a ruse. They were never real. And everybody should have known that, because if you followed this thing from the beginning, we had a perfect peace agreement. It was done. It was over. Obama negotiated it. It was working perfectly. Trump violated it and ripped it up, and everything since then was just kayfabe and was a show because they wanted to do the illegal and offensive war to do regime change, okay? That's the bottom line. They want a puppet government in there, and they want somebody who's not going to have any power in the region to push back against Israel's ambitions to create a greater Israel and become a global superpower themselves. So just know, it's admitted. The IDF is now saying, yeah, of course, we were never going to fucking make a deal. So don't buy any of the propaganda, guys. We know who the baddie is in this situation. It's not that tough to figure out. Breaking, Houthi movement announces the closure of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait in the Red Sea and warns that they will target U.S. and Israeli ships. And they're literally saying now, like, we're shutting down the entire Red Sea. The entire Red Sea is being shut down. And that will lead to an oil supply shock here in the U.S. There's already talks about they're trying to shut down the Strait of Hormuz also. That'll lead to massive economic issues here in the U.S. I'm telling you, global economic issues, actually. People are not ready to deal with that pain for this stupid fucking war. For this war that nobody wanted, except the Israel lobby. Okay? I'm telling you, man, they're playing with fucking fire. They're playing with fire. There's going to be a colossal groundswell against this, the likes of which we probably haven't seen in modern American history. I mean, there's going to be... People have not fully wrapped their minds around all of the unintended consequences as a direct result of this attack. Clash Report says, breaking, first wave of Iranian ballistic missiles launched towards Israel, 30 missiles reportedly fired. Support for attacking Iran. This was YouGov on February 23rd. Oppose 49. Support is only 27. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen a number of polls on this question. The high number I've ever seen is 28%. Supporting war with Iran. The low number is 5% supporting war with Iran. Trump just did that with literally no congressional approval, so it's totally illegal and unconstitutional, and no support from the people whatsoever. And so stop and think about this. You think that's going to end well? Especially when we start seeing U.S. casualties, when we're already seeing U.S. military bases getting wiped off the motherfucking map, okay? So, like, you think, how, in what world does this end well? Where nobody wants this, you just did the attack. You had zero congressional approval. You didn't even make an argument as to why we have to do this. It's just incredible. This is amateur hour. Not only are they incredibly evil, they're also just stupid and incompetent. So here you have Mehdi Hassan pointing this out. this Noah Tishby lady who, it says, 2 times New York Times best-selling author and former special envoy for combating anti-Semitism, okay? She posted a video. I'm in a bomb shelter in Israel right now. Sirens just rang across the country as an attack with Iran appears to be imminent. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm in Israel. We just got the sirens and went down to the shelters. I guess it started. I will keep you updated.
So Mehdi Hassan says, they illegally bomb another country without any justification for the second year running, and then they put out videos as if they're the innocent victims. Beyond parody. That's exactly right. And prepare yourselves. You're going to see a lot of this. This cry bully bullshit. Cry bully bullshit. The UK Navy says significant military activity is happening at the Strait of Hormuz right now. Al Jazeera, breaking news. Breaking, Israel attacks southern Lebanon in latest near-daily ceasefire violation. They're also attacking southern Lebanon at the moment. Here we go. The chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff was dismissed after warning Trump about the consequences of an attack on Iran. According to Reuters, after the warning from the head of the Pentagon's Joint Chiefs of Staff, Fred Katcher, to Trump about an attack on Iran leaked to the media, he was dismissed from his position, having served in it for just 3 months. Now, this one I have to say, I'm not sure this one is verified yet because I couldn't find anything else on it, but I do know for sure that there were some people in the military in particular providing pushback saying, I don't know if this is going to go well. Like, this is not going to happen. This is not going to be like the Venezuela thing where you think we're in and out and that's it ski. Like, no, this is a very complex thing we're talking about here, and to actually fully achieve regime change is not a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. So clearly, those voices did not win out, and Trump went with the Israel lobby and Netanyahu and the warmongers and the imperialists. So just absolutely disturbing stuff. Lindsey Graham says the end of the largest state sponsor of terrorism is upon us. God bless President Trump, our military, and our allies in Israel. Freedom for the long-suffering Iranian people. This operation is necessary and long justified. I love that he's saying this is necessary and he wants freedom for the Iranian people. Hey, asshole, how about freedom for the American people? Aren't you supporting the ICE Gestapo thugs, the secret police, the paramilitary, rounding up innocent people, throwing them in concentration camps, sending them places where they get raped and tortured? Aren't you supporting that? Aren't you siding with the agency as they shoot Americans in the face? Aren't you siding with them as they don't even abide by the Constitution and don't use warrants? You want to talk about free somebody? Free the United States of America from your fucking fascism. How about that? Jesus Christ, man. It's just so insane. The way that these people talk, the way they act. Netanyahu says, my brothers and sisters, citizens of Israel, just an hour ago, Israel and the United States embarked on an operation to remove the existential threat. Oh, please, you're the existential threat posed by the terrorist regime in Iran. I thank our great friend, President Donald Trump, for his historic leadership. For 47 years, the Ayatollah's regime has chanted death to Israel, death to America. It has spilled our blood, murdered many Americans, and massacred its own people. This murderous terrorist regime must not be allowed to arm itself with nuclear weapons that would enable it to threaten all of humanity. Oh my God, bro. Your nukes are the ones that, they have illegal nukes. They threaten humanity. You're the ones who threaten humanity. There's already been a number of stories. Jonathan Pollard, an Israeli spy, openly said, we should threaten the U.S. with nukes if they don't do regime change for us in Iran. Okay? You're the psychopaths. You guys just did a live stream genocide. You're going to wag your finger at anybody else? Oh my God, bro. Our joint operation will create the conditions for the brave Iranian people to take their fate into their own hands. The time has come for all parts of the Iranian people, the Persians, Kurds, Azeris, Baloch, Awazis, to cast off the yoke of tyranny and bring freedom and peace-loving values to Iran. I call on you, citizens of Israel, to heed the instructions of the Home Front Command in the coming days during Operation Lion's Roar. So they have different names for the shit. There's one U.S. name and one Israeli name. We will all be called upon to show patience and patience. He's saying patience. You know what that means, right? This shit's going to last for a long-ass motherfucking time, bro. Together we will stand, together we will fight, and together we will ensure the eternity of Israel. Guys, these are absolute religious psychopaths. Can we just say it? They believe the most ridiculous things. This guy believes the illegal Israeli settlers who are stealing land from Palestinians in the West Bank on a daily basis, they can do that because God gave them that land. Okay? You heard Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee is saying, yeah, let Israel take the entire Middle East because in order for the rapture to come true and Jesus to come back on a winged horse, we need Israel to have all the territory. This is who's running the world. This is who's running the world. Warmongering psychopaths who are in a fucking cult. That's what this is. All right, here it is. At least 24 killed at a girls' elementary school in Iran by U.S. and Israeli strikes. Jesus Christ, at least 24 killed. When I first saw this, the number was lower, and the number has been steadily rising since then. let me ask you guys a question. Why is it that we're always hearing about Israel bombing schools or bombing hospitals or bombing a bunch of innocent people, bombing a refugee camp? We're always hearing about that. That doesn't go in the other direction. I haven't heard about Iran bombing a girls' school. I haven't heard that. It's almost like Israel makes a point of attacking civilians. And that might lead you to some very different conclusions about who the baddies are. Jason Hickel says, bombing Iran in the middle of negotiations while starving Cuba, while genociding Palestinians, while threatening to invade Greenland, the U.S. and Israel are the single greatest threat to humanity, and it's not even close. We are all forced to live in the nightmare they create. Guys, we are run by a bunch of pedophile billionaire sadists who are creating the Fourth Reich. At this point, I am very comfortable with the comparison to the Nazis. Pedophile billionaire sadists. That's what they are. Pedophile billionaire sadists every single step of the way here. And I think, here's the thing though, I think people are waking up to that fact. They are waking up to the fact that these are like satanic, demonic people. Vice President J.D. Vance said, quote, I think that we have to avoid overlearning the lessons of the past. Just because one president screwed up a military conflict doesn't mean we can never engage in military conflict again. Yeah, bro, that's the lesson of Iraq. The lesson of Iraq is, let's not be too anti-war. The lesson of wasting over $8 trillion in the Middle East. Let's not be too crazy with our anti-war perspective. Has there ever been another human being this vapid, this vacuous, this empty, this much of a husk of a human being who believed in absolutely nothing, more so than J.D. Vance? I genuinely don't think so. I think this is one of the most empty people in the fucking planet. Okay? Look at this one. So, in October of 2024, Cenk and Stephen Miller went back and forth. Cenk said, so I didn't hear your answer to the question. Will Trump help Israel with the war starting with Iran? Will he finance it? Will he use the U.S. military to help Israel fight that war? You can't say no because you know he's going to do everything Israel asks him to do. And when that happens, you'll pretend it was self-defense. You had to do it. A special ally. We have to show how tough we are, and you'll get us mired in a giant war in the Middle East. Just like Dick Cheney. And all along, you'll pretend you were against war as you do it endlessly. And Stephen Miller says, Cenk, I don't know how I can be more clear. Trump will end and prevent war in the Middle East. He wants peace. Harris and her neocon cabinet want war, war, and more war. Will you lie, and do more lies? That's what you do. That's what you do, because there is no doubt Kamala Harris would not have done all this shit. There's no doubt. Even if you have criticisms of her on foreign policy or on other issues, which I do, there's no fucking way she would have kidnapped or abducted Maduro in the middle of the night, stolen Venezuelan oil, and put hundreds of millions of dollars of their wealth in her own private bank account in Qatar. Wouldn't have happened. She wouldn't have murdered over 130 innocent fishermen in the Caribbean like Trump did. She wouldn't be saying, I'm going to fucking annex Panama, and I'm going to annex Greenland and steal it, and I'm going to bomb Mexico. And she wouldn't have bombed Nigeria, right? Like, let's stop with the false equivalence bullshit in the year 2026. Let's leave that in the past. Okay? Because look at how brazenly, how blatantly, how overtly these sick sons of bitches lie to your face. Breaking: explosions in Jubair, Bahrain, where U.S. Naval Base and 5th Fleet headquarters is located. Here we go. Look at this.
Missile threat warning. Closet shelter immediately. Shelter in place. Missile threat warning. Closet shelter immediately. Shelter in place.
So I can confirm they've definitely hit a bunch of U.S. bases already, okay? So some people were debating what's happening here on Twitter, and one person said, like, well, hey, we had to attack Iran. They back terrorist organizations. Look at this. Quote, they back terrorist organizations, and look at the picture. It's Trump with a literal al-Qaeda leader who now we installed as the head of Syria. It's incredible that these people argue these things with a straight face. Breaking: satellite images show Ayatollah Khamenei's official residence completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. Now, was he in there? We don't know yet, right? We don't know. I mean, they knew this attack was coming, I think, for quite a while, as soon as the most recent military buildup started happening a couple weeks ago. And so they probably adjusted and made new plans. But we'll see. We'll see how good the internal intelligence was that outed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Council. But this is what they're doing. They're going for the whole thing. They're going for the whole regime change. By the way, the ultimate goal is to just make Iran a failed state. That's the goal. They want Iran to be a failed state. Because then, like with Lebanon, they could just go in there and bomb it whenever the fuck they want. There's no defenses whatsoever. It's what's called balkanized. It's sectarian. So you have like warring warring clans from within the country, and they want death and they want destruction, and they want nothing to get in the way of them creating a greater Israel, okay? Look at this one. This is from this guy, Scott Pressler, the MAGA Republican hack. He says, this is more relevant than ever. Hashtag Iran. Mom, I'm scared. I don't want to go to war. Honey, quit being selfish. I want a woman president. How fucking stupid do all of these people look? How stupid. Remember this? Netanyahu said, I want to present you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee, nominating you for the Nobel Peace Prize, which is well-deserved. And Trump's like, wow, thank you. Thank you, Benjamin. I appreciate that. These people are a sick joke. We're governed by the most depraved lunatics in the world. Once again, Trump starts war with his Mar-a-Lago party house instead of the Situation Room. Yeah, so he's hanging out at Mar-a-Lago. That's where they're launching the war from, and this is the sort of shit that's been going on at Mar-a-Lago lately. Remember this? We covered this recently. There's this, like, party. Everybody's wearing these creepy dog masks. Like, you want to talk about some eyes wide shut type shit, and that's what the Epstein scandal is. It's eyes wide shut to the max. Look at this shit. What is going on? This gives Great Gatsby. This gives 1920s right before the Great Depression. Okay? This gives, like, extreme narcissism and greed and selfishness and, like, the decline of the country. It gives all of that. And again, eyes wide shut for the most part, which now we know that shit was basically a documentary. When you look at what Jeffrey Epstein did and how Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, he was the head of the snake. In the Ghislaine Maxwell investigation, they were like, holy shit, this is like the cornerstone of the child trafficking. So think about that. Like, this guy was at the core of the scandal. And now he's waging an illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us, as he's surrounded by absolute hedonism and debauchery. How about this one? Kamala said that President Trump would get us into a war with Iran. She was projecting like usual. Oh, was she? Oh, was she projecting? Was she also projecting when she said he's going to send the army after you in the streets of America? Was that also projecting? Or was she just exactly fucking right? Senator Jack Reed, the top Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee, was not notified of the strikes in advance. Oh my God, bro. So not only did they not get any congressional approval, totally illegal and unconstitutional, they're not even telling them when they do the attack. There's not even a briefing. If you don't understand how the law has broken down in this country and checks and balances have broken down in this country, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. And then, of course, we have this. You have how many different examples of Benjamin Netanyahu saying over and over, oh, Iran is about to build a weapon of mass destruction.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Once Saddam has nuclear weapons, the terror network will have nuclear weapons. The next thing you'll see is a nuclear bomb in the World Trade Center. If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region.
This is who's calling the shots right now. Here we have an impact that hit Israel. This appears to be like some sort of a bus depot. Take a look at this. So you can see the smoke billowing up from like a bus depot that got hit by the Iranians. Breaking, Iran launches strikes on U.S. bases across the Middle East. Explosion seen at the U.S. naval base in Al Jufair, Bahrain, confirmed by Bahrain. Alarm sirens followed by up to 4 explosions in Kuwait. Massive explosions reported in Abu Dhabi. In Qatar, an official source at the Ministry of Defense told Al Jazeera an Iranian missile was intercepted by the Patriot air defense system. Iran had warned that any U.S. attack will be met with attacks on American bases and interests across the region, with a goal of killing a minimum of 500 American soldiers. The IDF literally said Israel has the right to defend itself as they launched the attack against Iran. This person says, I had to check. It's not the parody account. I also had to check. As you can see here, 3.1 million followers. It's at IDF. This is not the parody account. They are actually saying Israel has the right to defend itself. At this point, they're just trolling us. They're just playing with us. At this point, they're just slapping us around, right? They know, hey, we got away with the genocide. We can get away with anything, right? We can fucking nuke somebody if we want to. We can nuke somebody if we want to. They feel like that. And so when they say stuff like this, they know that they're not defending themselves. They're aware of that, but they don't care. They don't care. The fascist plays with the truth like a cat plays with a dead mouse, okay? That's what they do. Because their whole ideology is based on lies. And so they're comfortable in those lies. Whereas you and me are, we're burdened by trying to make sense and trying to be correct. They don't care about that. They care about power. They care about control. They care about racism, okay? They care about militarism and imperialism. They don't care. They'll lie all day, every day. That doesn't bother them one bit, not even a little bit. The brain-damaged Diet MAGA Senator John Fetterman says, Operation Epic Fury. President Trump has been willing to do what's right and necessary to produce real peace in the region. God bless the United States, our great military, and Israel. My God, bro. My God. He said, we're producing real peace in the region. By doing a massive illegal war, that's real peace? So are you also going to fuck for virginity? Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to eat to fast? Is that what you're going to do? Do words have no meaning whatsoever anymore? Is that how this functions? Words don't mean anything at all, ever anymore, right? He's going to bring about peace. By starting a war, like bombing a new country every week is somehow spreading peace? Do you hear yourself? Bro, you're brain damaged. Retire. Step down. Go get the help that you obviously so desperately need. Al McLeod says, if Iran did have nukes, none of this would be happening. That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. Videos from Abu Dhabi a short while ago, so here's some more of the attacks. Take a look at this one. That's a big explosion. That's a big explosion right there. So the Iranians are hitting some of their targets. Answer Coalition says, emergency nationwide day of action today, Saturday, February 28th. Stop the war with Iran. Trump and Israel are carrying out an unprovoked illegal bombing of Iran. This war threatens to cause unthinkable death and destruction. Iran has not attacked the United States. The people of this country reject another war for regime change and empire, a war which only serves the interests of a tiny elite and oil executives. Today, protests will take place in cities around the United States to oppose a new war with Iran. A growing list of demonstrations will be updated at answercoalition.org in the coming hours. Initial sponsoring organizations of the day of protests include Answer Coalition, National Iranian American Council, 5051, American Muslims for Palestine, the People's Forum, Palestinian Youth Movement, and Code Pink. So everybody go to answercoalition.org and look at that. Stop the war protests. I think they're going to explode all across this country, man. So Mark Dubowitz says, the Islamic Republic started the war against America and Israel in 1979. That's the Islamic Revolution, okay? Mehdi responds, if we're going to play this game, then America started the war against Iran in 1953. And that's exactly right. When we illegally used the CIA and overthrew their democratically elected president, Mohammad Mossadegh, because he wanted to nationalize the oil, we tried to protect Western oil corporations, and so we overthrew him illegally and put in a puppet dictator. We started the whole ass shit, okay? Large fire at a building in Tel Aviv, possibly munitions storage. Here we go. Wow. Things are happening. Things are happening. This is not like Venezuela. This is not like anything we've seen in modern history. This is not even like the 12-day war. Iran waited 9 days to fire back during one of the earlier rounds of fighting, okay? Now that's not that at all. This is like they're doing it immediately because they know it's existential. They know that Israel and the U.S. are going for full regime change. Several impacts at CENTCOM headquarters in Qatar. Again, like I said, this is different. There's going to be a pound of flesh extracted, okay? And this is something I don't know if people are ready for. Anonymous TV says, breaking, Iranian hackers vow to publish alleged videos of Donald Trump with minors within the next couple of hours. I don't know if this is accurate. This one is not verified. The reason I say that, this is the same account that said Trump would announce the war with Iran during his State of the Union address, and he didn't. So this account is a little bit on my shit list right now because they have spread things that turned out not to be true. Having said that, we did hear this rumor previously. I wanted to share it with you now, and we'll all learn together whether or not it's accurate. But one thing's for sure, we know Mossad has all that dirt, and we know almost certainly that Netanyahu is holding this over Trump's head to launch this full regime change war in Iran. And remember, the idea like, oh, they'd never do something like that. We know they already did do something like that. I don't know if you guys read Ryan Grimm's reporting about Bill Clinton, but apparently Netanyahu threatened Bill Clinton and said, we have the video or we have the tape or we have the evidence of him getting the blowjob from Monica Lewinsky. And he slyly mentioned it to blackmail him to try to get his way in negotiations at the time with Palestinians. So, I mean, again, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. But they've blackmailed American presidents in the past. They've done it. All right, this is a super important post. This is a good time to remind everyone that neither the U.S. military nor the IDF thought this war in Iran was a good idea. This is why. Number one, military planners have warned that there is no robust exit strategy. Unlike a surgical strike, a sustained campaign risks becoming a war of attrition where Iran decides when the conflict ends. Iran has spent decades preparing to make any conflict drawn out and costly rather than trying to win quickly. The potential closure of the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of traded oil passes, could cause a global economic shock. Key regional allies like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have expressed they do not want to be drawn into a war and have even barred the use of their airspaces for strikes. That's true. That's sort of a big deal. The military is reportedly wary of resource-draining distractions at a time when competition with China is accelerating. Committing major carrier groups and precision munitions to Iran could leave the U.S. under-equipped to respond to crises in the Indo-Pacific or Ukraine. Polls show that only 16% of Americans support direct military involvement in a conflict between Israel and Iran, while 60% are opposed. I've seen numbers as low as 5 and numbers as high as 28%. This lack of public mandate makes a sustained or escalating war a significant political risk for the administration. There's a concern that strikes might backfire politically within Iran. Instead of toppling the regime, external aggression could allow the clerical leadership to mobilize nationalist sentiment and marginalize the very opposition movements the U.S. hopes will take power. Yes, the rally around the flag effect when you're actually under attack. Yes. While there are massive anti-government protests, the opposition remains fragmented and lacks the organizational capacity to seize and hold power on its own. Without a boots-on-the-ground presence to protect and empower a specific alternative government, a vacuum is more likely to lead to chaos or a military junta rather than a stable new democracy. But that's the thing. They want a failed state, bro. This war is political. It makes absolutely no sense politically, and the IDF and U.S. military warned about these problems. But as I said, Netanyahu and Trump and the neocons and the imperialists and the Israel lobby, they want a failed state. They don't want a democracy. Look what they just did in Venezuela. They kidnapped the sitting president, and they're stealing the oil, and they literally were asked, like, okay, so is there going to be a vote, or is there going to be democracy? And they had no fucking answer, because they don't care about that. We're done pretending, right? They're done pretending that, we're spreading freedom and democracy and the right values. It's all about power and resources. That's what it's all about. A U.S. official says the U.S. has not previously faced such a wide range of simultaneous strikes targeting its overseas bases, and a lot of them are getting hit, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. bases are currently getting hit. CNN host, with the alarms going off here, suggesting we should seek immediate shelter. Wow, this is crazy. All right, let's take a look at this one.
I'm Becky Anderson in Abu Dhabi with the alarms going off here, suggesting we should seek immediate shelter in the closest source. So we'll do that. Our breaking news coverage continues after this short break. Stay with us.
Jesus Christ. So they're in Abu Dhabi. Jesus. Oh, no. Multiple explosions in Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar. I don't know where they're recording this, but war has erupted now all over the Middle East, okay? It's erupted all over the Middle East because the U.S. has bases all over the Middle East, and Iran is firing at those bases and also firing at Tel Aviv. None of this had to happen. Again, illegal offensive strikes from Israel and the U.S. against a country that didn't attack us, wasn't going to attack us. Everybody knows this. There's no playing hide the ball on that fact. There's no pretending like you're actually being defensive. I mean, they will try, but that shit is not going to fucking work. But here we are. These are the results, and it's only going to get worse, okay? And then finally, I'll end on this one. Anonymous says, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook are actively shutting down anti-Israel views or criticism of the illegal war with Iran. Twitter is manipulating the narrative by boosting MAGA and Israeli accounts while limiting the view of others. It's a full censorship regime on U.S. media. Yes, I think that's exactly right. I think and that's only going to get worse as time goes by. So everybody, do yourself a big favor and us a big favor. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also subscribe to Breaking Points. They're going to have big coverage very shortly as well. Subscribe to every independent or online media outlet that you like, because we're learning now that, you're having MAGA Zionist billionaire hacks buy up the entire media. And right now we're like the only voices that are going to tell you the truth. So they're going to try to snuff us out any way possible, but subscribe to the channel, click that bell icon. You could also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack and sign up on the Patreon to support the show. That's how you make sure you stay in touch with us no matter what YouTube ends up doing with our program. But it's happening, man. It's happening. It's all unraveling at once. And I will be back with you later today to give you more updates, because this thing is going to continue to spiral out of control.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.